Hey everybody, so today's going to be a film discussion video. I do these on a rare occasion. I definitely should probably do these more often because I do really enjoy doing these. I had a good talk with a friend of mine, actually, I'd say two or three friends of mine over the past summer, and it definitely, is a huge motivation for me as far as doing this video goes, just because this topic is I think it's important for people to kind of be aware of there's two sides to every coin kind of thing when it comes to good films. So for today's topic of discussion, it's going to be good films versus well-crafted films. So basically, the intent behind this video is I'm going to talk about my personal opinion as to far as what makes a film good and what makes a film well-crafted. Because I do think there is a difference. I think there's films where they definitely have both sides of the coin, but at the same time, I think there's films that is more so one more so over the other. And I think there's also films where you can respect it for what it's trying to do, you can respect the technicalities behind it, just like how there's films where you really like the subject matter, it's entertaining, it serves its purpose, but at the same time, there's a lot of technical stuff where if you really want to get into film, if you want to become a film director, you might not go with some of the things that certain film did, but there's certain things about it that may classify it as good. So that's kind of the purpose behind this video. Is the points I'm going to try to make, separating what makes a good film and what makes a well-crafted film, because I think there is a difference between those two things. So for good films, you guys, I think first and foremost, to consider a film good, it has to be entertaining. There has to be something about it that you were entertained by, whether it's the action scenes, whether it's the storyline, whether it's the comedy, whether it's the drama, whether it's the way it grabbed you or the way the messages grabbed you of the movie. Something has to be entertaining about it. Good films can also be films that may be just cool and appealing to you. I mean, just it can be the subject matter is very entertaining to you. It's very appealing. It has a good topic of discussion for once the movie is done with, or is there just something appealing about it that really just kind of sticks with you once the movie's done with? Another thing about good films is, I think sometimes a film doesn't exactly have to be high quality in a sense, but a good film can be, something like if you've ever seen Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Clearly, that film was not meant to win Oscars. Okay, I mean, no matter what way you stretch it, I mean, Kung Pao Enter the Fist was meant to be entertaining. It's meant to be funny, and it's meant to kind of spoof the idea of muting your TV whenever a TV show is on, and you're kind of filling in the lines for certain characters. It has that kind of whose line is it anyway kind of quality to it. And I guess that's what I mean by, a good film can still be low quality, but it has to be done right. And I think, that Gung Pao definitely enters the realm of good films over well crafted films when it comes to this kind of topic. Just because, that film clearly was not trying to win an award, it clearly was not trying to inspire you in any way, but it was meant to be entertaining, it's meant to be funny, and it's meant to kind of be quotable in a sense. So, I think films like that can be good, but like I said, they have to be done right. A good film can also be something that has self value to you, and it can be something that doesn't exactly have to be for everybody, but it has to have that kind of self value to you as a person. So, like for example, if you like Bruce Almighty, more than likely, you really like the Christian themes behind it. There was something that really struck with you, really, stayed with you, and it has self value to you because Bruce Almighty is a very big film for me. For example, it's one of my all time favorite movies. But that's also because it has some self value to it. I mean, there's something about it that I personally got out of it that maybe other viewers might not get out of it, kind of thing. I think good films can also be films where they focus more so on content over the execution. So, like, there's definitely films out there where they have a really good subject matter, it's well acted, they got everything on the table done correctly. But like, let's say maybe the lighting is not as good as it could be, or maybe the cinematography is not as good as something a professional cinematographer might tell you is good, or there's definitely more so the content over the execution. I think good films can get away with good content while kind of having a, not so much a bad execution, but you can definitely tell the execution part of it is not quite as dominant as the content portion. I also think good films can be films that have just really good performances in general, and sometimes it's the case to the point where uh, some of those really good performances even save the movie. It's very rare, but it's possible. Um, there's also cases where the performances are so incredibly good, but if the film is bad, more than likely it's just the script or the way it was directed, or studio politics got involved or something along that line. But I do think a good film can also be film that have really good performances or something really notable to your favorite actor or actress or something like that. Like I said, it's very rare that a performance saves the movie, but it is possible, I think. Now to talk about well-crafted films, that kind of the huge money-making side of this video is the fact that there's a difference between good films and well-crafted films. For well-crafted films, I think it does need to be technically brilliant in a sense. So it has to have like good cinematography, good editing, good music. Somebody like me that would really get into a way the film was edited, or the way the film had a good musical score, or the way it was directed. Something has to be well crafted about it. Something that if you walked into a film production set and you were really impressed by the way that some of these people behind the camera were working on this film and whatever way they did it. That definitely goes along the line of well crafted films. The film can be complete garbage, but a lot of people working behind the camera clearly did something really impressive to give the film that well crafted suggestion, I guess you can say. Well crafted films can also be films where the execution is better than the content. Though I haven't seen the film The Counselor by Ridley Scott yet, it does sound like it had everything right on paper as far as who got involved with making the movie. It had Ridley Scott, a really good director. It had Cormac McCarthy, a really good author who clearly wanted to work on a script for once for a movie. It had a really good cast. It was, from what I know about it, it sounds like it was shot correctly. It was filmed correctly. It was like everything execution wise was all set for it. Problem was the content wasn't very good from what I've heard about it. Obviously, I haven't even seen the film yet. But from what I heard about it, it sounds like the execution is better than the content. I think a well crafted film can also have a respectable approach. This can sometimes happen with a really good director working on a film that's not quite up to par with some of their better work, but you can respect the approach behind it. Like Darren Aronofsky sometimes likes to get really really dark with his films, and though it's not always the most entertaining thing about them, but you sometimes respect the fact that he really wants to show you the really dark side of a certain subject matter. And though it's not for everybody, you respect the fact that you kind of appreciate the fact that he went in those dark places that maybe some other filmmakers are too scared to go in when they work on a film like that. Another thing about well crafted films is they can also be well directed or just well shot in general. One film that I really like, it's definitely more so along the line of well crafted films over good films, but I still think it's a really good film. But I think it's really well shot, and I think that's one reason why, if I do ever rewatch it again in the future several more times, I think that just the fact that it's well shot alone and well executed makes it worth going back to. And that film is Easy Rider with Jack Nicholson and uh, either Henry, I think it's Peter Fonda. I always get the Fondas mixed up. So, but Easy Rider is definitely a film where it's well shot and it's well executed, and it's a very good thing about that movie. Also, another thing about well-crafted films is, like, let's say the music is really well composed by a really notable composer like Alan Silvestri, or John Williams, or Hans Zimmer. A lot of big composers out there. Or let's say the film is edited in a way or narrated in a way that's really respectable and really well crafted. Once again, that falls under well-crafted films. So I guess to kind of sum everything up, a good film is something that, like, it has self worth to you. It's entertaining. There's something about the content that really impressed you in some way, and clearly you really enjoyed that movie. And then a well crafted film is not necessarily something that you personally really enjoy, but like let's say it's you really appreciate the craft behind it, the way it was edited, the way it was directed. Um, maybe the content was horrible, but maybe the performances, given what they were given, who the actors and actresses, you can still kind of respect the effort that they put behind it and things like that. So to me, that's kind of the difference between a good film and a well executed one, or a well crafted one. For what I named for the video, is that good films have the self worth, and they're good and they're entertaining. While well crafted is more so, you really appreciate the effort behind it, the way it's executed. It might not be for you, but there's a certain appeal behind it that would work for other people, and therefore you would be able to recommend it to somebody. So I hope this video helped you out, you guys. Like I said, I really think there is a difference between good films and well crafted films. There's definitely films where they're both one and the same for certain films. But I do think there was a difference, and I really wanted to just take this video to kind of share my personal opinion on it. And I hope it helped you out. And I hope, actually, if you want to, feel free to leave down below what you view as a good film and a well-crafted film, and what the difference is. If you feel free that you want to. So I hope this video helped you out, and thanks for listening.